saying that even though we allowed the banned rallies over the last week, now it's different, and this time those will be met by the full force of the law. But in short, it appears that those rallies have not materialized. And a leading supporter of the Mousavi campaign, who we spoke to 5 hours ago before the rallies, to contact the Mousavi campaign to ask them not to call the rallies because they were concerned about the reprisals that the young people and the people in the streets could face.
The first thing she asked, do they have softball?
We want to check in with Ivan Watson now. He's following the developments and joins us from the Iran desk. Still demonstrations out there, Ivan, a little bit smaller though, and the government making clear it is serious about people not going out to challenge it. Ivan Watson on the Iran desk? Okay, apparently we don't have him. We'll try and make contact with him in a moment. Meantime, let's just bring you up to date. A very different kind of picture now than what we saw a day or two earlier. The massive demonstrations have been replaced after the interruption on Friday by smaller demonstrations, still fervor in the streets of Tehran, but smaller numbers displaying that defiance. A very different version than what Iranians are seeing inside their country, though.
Well, it's a pivotal day today because after Iran's supreme leader finally took to the stage and addressed Iranians and basically issued an ultimatum and a warning, all eyes are there to see whether or not the protesters will come out or whether they will take heed of that warning. So far, what we can confirm is that one of the clerical establishments, the Association of So-Called Combatant Clergy, which is a reformist group, has said that it will cancel the protest that it was planning to hold today. So that is cancelled. And that is also fairly associated with the previous reformist president, Mohammad Khatami, who is also a big backer of Mir Hossein Mousavi. And it appears that Mohammad Khatami has cancelled his plans as well. On the other hand, CNN on the ground in Tehran has confirmed some people who it's been talking to say that they might turn out anyway, small groups. We don't know whether state-run media is accurate when it says that all protests have been cancelled. That's what Iranian state-run media has said today, that all protests have been
reporting there. I apologize. That was pre-recorded tape. That was not where we wanted to go. In fact, we want to go to Ivan Watson live. Ivan, lots going on. Less than what we've seen in recent days, but a very, very intriguing and important challenge to the regime.
Absolutely. The most significant challenge to the regime, really, in at least a decade, if not longer. And we see that despite a statement coming from the most powerful man in Iran on Friday, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, that we've had protesters, at least thousands, going out into the streets despite the ban and actually clashing with security forces. This is Iranian state TV showing the security forces, Basiji, pro-government militia, clearly hauling away a demonstrator right here. That is state TV showing the demonstrators being broken up. Let's go on to APTN footage that I'd like to show of tear gas being used against the demonstrators. We're going to show some tear gas being used and people having to run away. And that fits with all of the accounts we have gotten from protesters on the ground, from eyewitnesses who have described water cannons, tear gas, security forces shooting in the air. Now, John, this is a difficult moment we get to now. Some of the video that we're getting in is from YouTube, and it's very hard to confirm whether or not it is real, whether or not it is today's events. We're going to show it to you, though. This is a crowd, clearly, of thousands of people. They are not waving signs. They are not carrying green banners out in the streets. And we believe this may have been shot today in Tehran. John?
Now, as we look at these pictures, we're not seeing masses of heavily armed troops. We're not seeing armored personnel carriers or tanks. But you made reference to the Basiji, and I guess with the Basiji out in the streets, you don't need armor.
No, the Basiji, some of them seem to be equipped with riot gear. Certainly the police that we've seen in some photos have been equipped with riot gear. And I can show you some photos that we've gotten from Twitter photos over here. If we switch over, look at this. This is probably a Basiji militiaman. We see that he's got a club here, and he's wearing this kind of paramilitary vest, but otherwise civilian clothes. And there are hundreds of thousands of Basiji, if not millions, that are supported by the state. They're often used as shock troops against illegal demonstrators. Here's another image. Here we see uniformed people, riot police, possibly a demonstrator. These came over Twitter today, several hours ago. And a final image, riding around on motorcycles. This is a favorite mode of transport for the Basiji, for the paramilitary security forces that often see themselves as the moral police. They enforce moral codes in the Islamic Republic of Iran, loved by some, especially because they were very important in the war against Iraq throughout the 1980s, loathed by many also as well because they are so prone to using force to go after what they see as un-Islamic attire worn by women. This is in more calm days, not when you have a political confrontation like this. Final thing I'd like to show you, John, is over here. This is Mir Hussein Mousavi's Facebook site, and a number of posts have been put on here. We can't confirm whether they're actually coming from him or from his aides or perhaps even a hacker, but we do feel it's important to bring you the translation of some of these statements. There have been messages on there in the last couple of hours saying, demonstrate or go on strike. And another message where Mousavi, minutes ago in the center of a crowd, announced that he is preparing himself for martyrdom. We're going to try to confirm whether or not this is true. Very important to know where the second place candidate, according to the official tally, where he has been, what position he is taking in this day of turmoil in Iran. John?
Ivan Watson on the Iran desk. Thanks very much. So that's what we're learning here on CNN. Here's what Iranians are seeing inside their country.